Hey, here we are from downtown Korea, Montreal. We're gonna go on a jog, a little bit on that fast-paced Dragon versus Storm march. Gonna put those gloves on. Got a little bit of a backpack, not too heavy. Rock and roll over time, every time. Encouraging all to work out, train, exercise. We're gonna put some miles, some kilometers of marching. Let's go more than the generals of NATO. Top 11 generals of NATO North Atlantic Organization today. Who's gonna march more than they? Rainbow Dragon Rock and Roll, grateful, thankful for my rent, paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee, and got this nice blue jacket thanks to my anonymous friend. Who wasn't my friend because of the money? Who wasn't my friend because of the money? Because I never had any. Who wasn't my friend because of the money? Because I never had any. So we gotta go on that rock and roll here from La Belle Province, Quebec. Please make an effort to learn some French. Listen to some Celine Dion songs, and we love our French here, so come visit with us. We got great culture, great cuisine, great dams, hydroelectric dams, and come in Quebec, come in Montreal. See a little bit of lights. Come LOV with us a little bit. We have a great city, a great province here in this North America, Quebec or Canadian North America, so gonna get it for that rock and roll as you go, and we gotta get it for as you know. We get it on the do and on the go, and beautiful lights down there, and you got some beautiful arts down there. A bit of that rainbow freestyle rock and roll. Not bad. I kind of like it. Kind of dig rock and roll style, Asperger style, and kind of dig it with it. So it's something, of course, which I gotta get it on the interjection, and I gotta get it on the XYZ, and I gotta get it on the do, you know. So it's LOV 24/7 rock and roll for the farmers, firefighters, butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks here from Montreal, Hawk Island, La Belle Province. We got a LOVE. Grateful, thankful, my rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got food and coffee, and we're going west from the downtown core area, special edition Monday. Gonna got to be in court in 44 days and 22 hours in 44 days and 22 hours in 44 days and 22 hours, so almost 45 days, and gotta get LOV, encouraging all the workout and train and exercise, working out, training, exercise like has been, is, and will be my medicine and therapy of choice, and we're gonna get it on the XYZ, and gotta get it on the LOV, you know, from the culture here, which is very diverse, and you know, I have Asperger's, so I had that HFA. I can be awkward, but I give permission to people to laugh at me. Other people laugh and love. My dancing is my favorite sport. Dancing is my favorite sport and fitness activity, and you know, it's sometimes we gotta get that rock and roll, you know, and just gotta do, and just gotta be LOV, you know, LOV for the butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, firefighters. Just saw some of those firefighters sending them some love. Somebody giving them some good massages. I wish I could afford a massage therapy session, but I'm going to take a bath instead. So taking that bath is going to compensate for my soreness and live a very fit, active lifestyle, you know, creating my own workout training program system and encourage all the workout. Now going on that workout. Bus drivers, public bus drivers, firefighters, butchers, bakers, nurses, those flipping some hamburgers, cheeseburgers. Somebody forgot, get a little bit of forgetfulness. Earlier for breakfast, I got the coffee on special, $1.56 Canadian. And I was forgot, but I said, hey, you know what? They were so busy. I wasn't upset, and I said at the end, I know how you workers do it. You know, I wouldn't have lost a day in a fast food environment of like 44 people, maybe more than 44, just waiting to get the hamburgers, the cheeseburgers, the breakfast, the whatever case they have, and you know, that's what we gotta do, you know. And so there were many customers waiting to be served, so I totally understood. I said, wow, that is quite something to be able, you know, to serve that fast food and work in a fast food environment. And I don't know how they can do it, but I guess some are less able, myself being less able, less capable of something than others. And always got to check my, here we need to fix some potholes. Got some potholes to fix here and there, so got a lot of work to do in the public works, and still go public workers go, you know. They're gonna build it, public workers. I gotta be mindful today, you know. Is the garbage collection. Somebody gonna pick up the garbage, the compost, the recycling, you know. And early this morning was recycling. Recycling. So thank you to those who picked up the recycling. How about that trade? They're buying, selling future option puts. That's the Montreal stock market. They're closed. Ring bell at that Wall Street millionaires finance. Give 10% for the financing of the public workers. Those who pick up the garbage, the compost, those who pick up the recycling also. Public nurses, finance them a little bit of massage therapy session, firefighters with it, of the North American collective, Don't be so selfish, greedy Grinch. I'm not totally selfless, far from it. Give a little bit of charity, 10%. 10%. That would be nice to get 10%, That's all I'm asking for, 1% to build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum on the Canadian-US border, to build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum and the Forgotten Goddess Temple, the Forgotten Goddess Temple, Forgotten Goddess, GODDSS, the Forgotten Goddess Temple, and the North American Citizen Imperial Coliseum, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, and get it on that go, always LOV to see people working out, training, exercising, and I'm doing a little bit of that, exercising myself, and I don't know how much it costs, but always LOV, hit that gym. Hitting the own gym of the Urban Jungle right now as I have been, and of course there's a public gymnasium that way, not too far away, there's a public gymnasium, and we got to get on those, so we got to always meditate, the gymnasiums. We need to build more and encourage all the workout, train, exercise, and it's time to mass finance fitness. Gonna cross here, turn the head left or right, 'cause you never know. What if the brakes malfunction? The electricity might snap. Gotta give some LOV to those Hydro-Quebec workers of the past, present, LOV, Rainbow Dragon, androgynous pansexual artist-athlete, Aspie artist-athlete, and philosopher, and all those involved in the production, distribution of food, and all those, of course, involved in the production, distribution of food now. LOV, firefighters, and the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, and hey, love me some of those skyscrapers. Love me some skyscrapers. Always got a little bit of a fetish for cranes. I just LOV, I just have a little bit of a crane fetish, Aspies, people with Asperger's, we have these weird narrow interests. So I'm always curious where the crane was built, how much weight can it pull up, how much weight can it goes up and down, and what can it carry? What can it carry, But always gotta get it on the do, so always get it for the dues, man. Anyways, man, gotta get it on the goes, so we gotta get it on the go, But look at that crane, see? It's quite something, to get up there. I wonder how they do it and how much does it pull? How much does it go up, Sometimes I wonder. Gotta go for the XYZ and get it for the love, so. Anyways, gotta get it on the LOV, and they're happy there in the street dancing a little bit, and I love to dance, dancing is my favorite sport, and I got a little bit of weirdness, my dance moves, having Asperger's, it's one of my favorite, my special interests is of course dancing and sports, fitness, sports and dancing being my favorite sport, so always wonder what stickers, sometimes you get the stickers, but I gotta check my vision because I see blurred sometimes. So anyways, more skyscrapers being built here, somebody dancing, and this is the city. You get a little bit of a vibe city, all my brothers and sisters who get that LOV, freedom, gotta ensure freedom, Dragon Army, freedom gotta be ensured, coast to coast defense, security and service. Only my call to all willingly loving, to the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, the dancing goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. Pledge your allegiance, legions to our family. That's the rock and roll song. Pledge your allegiance, legions to our family. That's the rock and roll song. Pledge your allegiance, legions to our family. So that's what we gotta do. That's what we gotta be doing. And friends with benefits only from now on. Friends with benefits only. Friends with benefits only, man. Pledge your allegiance, legions, and this is my home in this life and in parallel life, and encouraging all to work out, train, exercise. Now I'm going to do a little bit of discussion on the geopolitics. It's, of course, it's going up to the march. You know, well, we got to get it on the march, and we got to get it to, well, put some color on that, make a dragon army. Let's get that public-private partnership to finance, mass finance, housing in a public-private partnership, and build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum. But if you go, I wonder how high the crane goes. If you can see there, it goes really high. I always wonder about the cranes, you know, how they build it plane by plane and how they go up, you know. I gotta be admiring on the XYZ, and that's how we gotta get doing, you know. Yeah. We gotta watch the cars sometimes, you know. They cross on the left, or you know, just gotta be prudent when you cross the streets. What if the brakes malfunction? The citizen presses the accelerator instead of the brake, and gotta get it for the malfunctioning, you know, of the brakes. Potentially the brakes can malfunction, so we always gotta get it on the go, and that's what we gotta be doing now. Be mindful of the civilizational complex, and that civilization is a privilege, but see, we got those Habs towers there. So it's a great city. Just come learn a little bit of French. Montreal metropolis, 2.5 million people going west to my Dragon's Lair from downtown. Had a little bit of business and still financially stressed, but open for business 24/7, you know. Financially stressed, but open for business, you know. So that's what it is today, and for tomorrow, you know, it's cannot stress enough the importance of regular physical exercise and the need for rehabilitation. Whatever the case may be, you know, sure. Or you go to something, I've been depressed, been suicidal, and cross Canada coast to coast. Hey, isn't that cool? I can't see really well, I gotta check my eyes, but I always try to see where the technology is made, and it's kind of cool that it's in the open, makes you raise some questions, and makes my CIT, citizen integration theory, be applied now, makes my CIT, one of my theory, you know, to be implemented across the collective, part of the ongoing new 911 protocols, you know, part of the ongoing of the new 911 protocols, you know, which are ongoing, and which, of course, we got to get a little value thereof, and we got to get on the little value thereof, and it's something which we got to be doing, and something which we got to be observant, and something which we got to be mindful, you know, because all this is a privilege, you know, having the liberty, myself being part of the LGBTQ community, you know. I guess a little bit of online hate and bullying or whatever, a little bit of online hate and bullying, but nonetheless, for my fellow Quebecers, Canadians, always, well, say you're free to do so, and with love and understanding and a smile, and we gotta get on the go, you know. So we gotta give it for the cranes, and now, you know, I got that crane fetish, so I always wonder, where was the crane built, what is its capabilities, how much time does it get to be a crane operator? I wrote rock and roll songs, crane operator going up, building those skyscrapers, my rock and roll, you know, one of my trinity of obsessive, also known as special focus interest, is my trinity of special interests, which is, of course, sports and fitness. Dancing is my favorite sport and fitness activity, and rock and roll, and of course geopolitics 24/7. I predicted what's happening now back in 2019, got that proof of work. Back in 2019, I predicted an international conflagration based on a correlation of points, and that correlation of points, of course, was that many civilizations, nation states, were not able to fully resolve their conflicts dating from the 20th century specifically. So that's my trinity of obsessive interests, and I'm always fascinated about cranes. When I see a crane, I always have a little questions and kind of use my imagination to kind of work, and how all the work can labor across the North American collective, across North America. Which has the best cranes? Is it Quebec? Is it Montreal? Is it New York? Is it LA? Which one has the best cranes? Is it Montreal? Is it LA? I'm really curious technically. Now I'm gonna go check which are the best cranes. Well, I mean, you can go more detail about it, but the details would be definitely how much weight can it pull and how high, right? So it'd be basically these mainly two categories. I guess you can add a third one, maybe electricity consumption or safety, right? Safety. So it'd be durability, weight, how much weight can it pull up, and how high the height, right? Because some go higher than others. There's skyscrapers like this one. Please give Dragon a little bit of a condo there. Please give Dragon a little bit of condo. A little bit of condo work, Dragon, and that's what we got to do with that. And here with the Habs Center, and you know, I am also rooting now for the PVHL, Professional Women's Hockey League. The PVHL rocks and rolls double time as I go towards the sunset. So, Professional Women's Hockey League, that's my next expense. Although financially stressed now as I go see. These are the Canadian Towers, the Habs. The Montreal hockey team, the Canadian Habs. These are the Habs Towers. So, these Habs Towers. So, I always got to get on the meditation and get it on the meditation for that, and something which we got to be interjecting, you know, and that's what we got to get on that interjecting side, you know. So that's what we got to get doing, you know. We got to be mindful. All this civilization is a privilege, you know. Electricity, Hydro-Quebec workers of the past 20th century, we got to get coast to coast, you know. And of course, I will definitely buy, although financially stressed. My only stress, illness, and now is financial stress. Financial stress. Besides being financially stressed, I'm grateful. Gratitude is a great component of mental health and wellness. I was assuming they go correlated together, but gratitude is something, although financially stressed. See, this is the Tricolore, Bell Center. Here you come see the Habs, and those are the new Habs towers. So the third one is being constructed. So if you wanna, I guess, buy me a condo there. But I'm gonna be putting first and foremost the Professional Women's Hockey League. Victoire go. Please, millionaires of the NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, NHL, MLB. Please donate. Give some to women's sports leagues, and please, NFL, National Football League, NHL, National Hockey League, NBA, National Basketball Association, MLB. Please reduce the ticket cost by 44.9%. 44.9%, and give some tickets to the public workers, the firefighters, the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the electricians, the plumbers, the grocery store clerks, you know. We got to get it on the LOV, you know. So it's not all about the money. You know. Got to get some LOV. It's not all about strength, as much as I understand fully peace through strength. The idea, the concept of peace through strength, being an independent geopolitical theoretical honest theorist who has predicted back in October, November 2019 an international conflagration. That's when I predicted the international conflagration in 2019. So I've been kind of in a World War III mode ever since, but as much as I understand, see, as much as I understand the concepts of the dynamics which are interjected, you know, so it's something which we gotta do, and we gotta get it on the XYZ, so that's what we gotta do, you know, because I have LOV, you know. My fellow Quebecers, Canadians are my family, and all who come to join us in the collective North American civilization. And as much as I do understand the concept, the philosophy, the ideology, peace through strength, you know. We cannot base it all on strength. It has to be a balanced complementary, you know. So is complementary. The balance of the peace through strength, you know, it has to be complementary. It has to be complementary. The complementarity has to come in an equilibrium, a balance, you know, a balance of things, you know, and a harmony. But sometimes we gotta rebalance an equilibrium, you know, because we have to have some justice. But I don't believe that justice or defense, that is defense, right? We were talking about defense, military strategy, geopolitics, defending. Here, Canada, true north, strong and free. My brothers and sisters in the USA, land of the free, home of the brave. Land of the free, home of the brave. Land of the free, home of the brave. With the true north, strong and free, we both got free. But we gotta add some LOVE to that. Some pleasure, you know. Some pleasure and purpose. Some pleasure and purpose. And that's what it is, you know, so. Anyway, so that's something which I gotta do, like, you know, it's something which I gotta envision, you know, that we has to be some LOV to that strength, you know, because we cannot base just on strength. Sure, sometimes it has to be necessary, force and strength, power. We're gonna will power and authority. We cannot just base it on strength, on authority and justice, neither. Not here, not in the North American collective. And this is what I know. Past lives, incarnations, my mystic ideal side aside. You know, I had COVID, celebrating 5 years. Special 5-year March, celebrating when I survived COVID back in 2020, February, March, around this time. I was quite dead. I literally was quite dead. I had COVID, I thought that was it. I said, hey, this is my time to go. And in many ways, I said, that is my time to go. And I went. I died. I said, I died during COVID, nothing that I will to go back to. I live fully, carpe diem it, with carpe diem it every day, with hope for tomorrow. Open for business, you know. Open for business. 24/7, you know. Sing the rock and roll song, you know. 24/7. And I don't like violence. I do not like violence. I do not like violence, you know. But I have it. Intensity. I have intensity, and I guess aggression, but it's super important to channel, right? Channel and sublimate. Here's the police post. Police. Nobody's perfect. That includes me and you. Not even my brothers and sisters in blue. There ain't nobody perfect. Not my brothers and sisters, boys and girls in blue. Or whatever, or like me, you know. Non-binary, androgynous. You get that 50-50 rainbow dragon, you know. But nobody's perfect. Not even our security forces. I can be flawed. I have vices. Certain things, you know, I suffer, struggled, and I live with Asperger's, HFA, which is a neurological mental divergent condition, which makes me predisposed to certain characteristics. And I always, and fellow Aspies, we always have to build bridges of understanding and mutual acceptance between myself as a neurodivergent and somebody who's neurotypical. Because we Aspies with HFA, our brains are different. We have a different brain, and it's not negative or bad, but in certain things, Aspies like myself, we are less able, less capable. We are less capable. We are less capable and able. So being less capable and able in those things, there's we can be really good, especially at our what's called obsessive interest, but I do not use the terminology obsessive. Myself use the terminology myself use the terminology special interest, because that's what they are. They're special focus interest. They can be very narrow, and myself is the Holy Trinity: geopolitics. And I know in-depth, detailed geopolitical events, transfer. That's what I do on the daily. And sports and fitness, dancing is my favorite sport and fitness activity. And rock and roll. So I can go into rock and roll trances for hours and hours and hours. I can go into rock and roll trances for hours and hours and hours, you know. I can go into rock and roll trances for hours. Thank you, public. We're gonna pick up the garbage. The collection, you know. So that's all we gotta get doing with that. That's all we gotta do with that. And here's the national defense, you know. Gotta give a little bit of rock and roll, and the Dragon Army Initiative, you know. The Dragon Army Initiative, you know. So that's what we gotta be doing with that, and that's where we gotta go, you know. So here we got that coast to coast, beautiful red, you know. Beautiful red, man. We gotta get on beautiful red, and that's what it is with that. And here we got on that XYZ, you know. So it's something which we gotta be mindful. Made in Canada or what? Made in Canada or what? Canada or what? Made in Canada, like myself, you know. Died here, being reborn here. Although I lived in past lives, incarnations, sometimes was born a man or woman. Besides geopolitics, sports and fitness, dancing being my favorite sport and fitness activity, and of course rock and roll. The fourth dimension to my Trinity. Fourth dimension is of course geopolitics, you know. That's what we're gonna get doing with that. So we gotta get doing on the guard, you know. And true north, strong and free, we gotta stand on guard, you know, for XYZ, you know. So, you know, I gotta get that LOVE, you know, I gotta get that loving. And I wish I could afford a better place, but I'm so grateful for the tiny space I have, because it's better where I used to live. I gotta say some gratitude for that, because I always say if I would have stayed there before COVID, when I moved a few years, having moved, I moved from a moldy place, and having moved from that moldy place, you know. It's from my moldy place that I moved, and here we got those three. That's how I like it. Let it be no tariffs. North American collective via the European Union, and gotta press a little bit of a button here, I think so. Yeah, this one. See, this one's different than the rest. See, this one has an arrow, but the other ones are kind of like a blue, you know. Let's see if this one's the same. See, not all are the same across Montreal. This one has the arrow. So with the arrow there, I have to check my eyes, you know, because kind of go a little bit on that blind side sometimes. There we go. See, through North, strong and free, and I don't know about that 51st state, but I am for the North American Collective Union Democratic Republic. My dream, the Dancing Goddess in the Dragon Kingdom. Put a 7-pointed star for the DGA Dancing Goddess Army, and the Dragon, Rainbow Dragon, black and white and red, and Rainbow Dragon, black, white and red, and Rainbow Dragon with an eye. The eye, black, white and red eye, and a Rainbow Dragon, the eye above the dragon, like a phoenix, and the dragon, you know. It's kind of like does a symbol for the Dragon Army, which I'm calling for the foundation as a public-private partnership based on my new 911 integrated North American protocols for security, service, and defense. For the security, service, and defense and for the protocols for the North American security and defense. And that's all we got to be doing with that, and that's what we got to be interjecting, and something which we got to do, you know. So having Asperger's means that I am part of a tiny community of less than 1%, less than half of a percent, less than 44% of neurodivergence. So not a lot of people have Asperger's, but we, myself included, a mediocre, average, and so-so. mediocre, average, and so-so. Mediocre, average, and so-so. While being mediocre, average, and so-so are some things, like social interactions and social things, we don't fully get. And we can be pretty direct sometimes and can be pretty intense about special interests, but we're not fully on the knowing that certain things are socially acceptable and certain socially acceptable things in the public sphere which I do not fully comprehend. It doesn't come easy for us. For example, just earlier somebody asked, how are you today? The main social protocol is say, okay, I'm good, you know, the 99%. My response was direct and honest. I said, I didn't sleep so good. I kept on waking up. We had the electricity which was missing, you know, so having the electricity which was missing, you know, we always had to have a little bit of electricity which was missing, and that's what we got to get doing on that, you know, so we got to get doing on the XYZ, and that's why we got a bit on the compromise, you know, so it's always a compromise which has to be a situation where we get 50-50, you know, 50-50. And I always have to build bridges of understanding on many aspects, you know. Unfortunately, thank you to Aspie, fellow Aspie, men, women, trans, whatever, rainbow like me or not, who gifted me about 7 months ago $25.44. I put it to good use. It was that FOOD food and made in Canada shampoo. So that is something which I live with. Somebody lives with. And my many scars, many trauma, but hey, I spoke enough about me. Let's say some rock and roll for the truckers on the road. Thank you, truckers, sending you some big rainbow dragon hugs. LOVE. Big hugs, feet washings with it, you know. Nurses, firefighters, all public workers who pick up the garbage, the compost. Picking up the garbage, the compost today. Thank you. I forgot to take it out, left in a hurry, but had some downtown business in the morning, but that's what it is. And last time it came a little bit around 9:30, 10ish in the night, so by the time I'm back, maybe of course it's gonna be that garbage. If not, of course, whatever the case may be, I guess I'm just gonna put it outside the trash and put it outside in the interjection. And should I rush? 3 seconds? No, not gonna rush, just gonna wait for the next one, or maybe cross on the other side. But see, there you can see part of the mountain, the peak part of the mountain where you can see there. That's where we are most of the times in the recordings. We pass by there up, but that, and sometimes we point the camera from above there. That is the mountain peak, Westmount, of my second home, Mount Royal. My second home, Mount Royal, where I go to work out, train, exercise, and do my geopolitical meditations, which of course occur even now. Sometimes I see a truck or I see something of value for the North American collective, like this highway here, and how it's potentially open for a certain sabotage, and it's potentially open for potential sabotage due to the fact that we made, of course, enemies, potential enemies, which are powerfully nuclear armed enemies and capabilities for striking and espionage and sabotage and whatever cases may be in the North American collective, or what I call as a philosopher, the great North American civilizational complex, of which, myself included, we are part of. As Quebecer Canadians here, we made the great linguistic compromise, and look at here, we built, thank you to the construction workers, so many buildings we need to rebuild to do across the North American collective. And see, that is what it is there. That's the mountain. See? You can see a little bit of peak, how it goes up. So sometimes we're there pointing up, but that is actually miles and kilometers away. So you can be seen afar off. You can be seen afar off. Can be seen afar off the mountain. So that's like my second home, and we love to get a little bit on that mountain, but not today, because I'm hungry and I gotta go eat. You know. So that is a little bit of loving for firefighters. You know. Firefighters, butchers, bakers, nurses. Thinking about those in the daycares who change some diapers, you know. Thinking about the daycare workers who change some diapers and who are now, you know, on the coast making some cheeseburgers, hamburgers, fast food, making some of that delivery, you know. Food is essential, starts with Food security starts with the farmers, medium, large, big farms, corporate farms at all levels, all food producers. From the small farm, having myself some experience in the past years of urban farming, you know, it has always been certain interjections, and had many jobs, many employments, and I love volunteering, and had done a lot of volunteering, you know. So had done a lot of volunteering, and that's where we are to get on that volunteering side, and it's something which I gotta do on the volunteering, you know. It's a volunteering which I love to do, and volunteering which I love to engage in, but many jobs I had short-lived, momentarily, a few months, a few weeks, due to the fact that Asperger's, it's Asperger's, you know, Asperger's is something which we love, you know, we love to discuss about, because we're affected by it. We don't necessarily have a love for it, but we love to discuss it because we're part of a tiny minority again, and I gotta say, Aspies of the world unite, but it has some good. When it comes to geopolitics, you know, just the fact that I predicted what's happening now back in 2019, the concordium of details being left out for national security matters, just as I do not indulge into overly discussing my total mobile defense theory, the total mobile defense theory, the total mobile defense theory, you know, the total mobile defense theory, or the T total, M mobile, D defense, T theory, total mobile defense theory, and S. Sometimes it's added an S, the total mobile theory system, which I concocted and developed over the past years, especially since I crossed Canada coast to coast. And that event made me come out of being depressed and suicidal. And back then, in August 2017 and September, crossing Canada coast to coast made me establish a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians. Made me establish a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians. Made me establish a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians. Made me establish a strong esprit de corps. My family, Quebecers, Canadians here, my families, you know, to be on the North American side, and we gotta get it on the do. We gotta get it on the do. So it's my family, Quebecers, Canadians, and by extension North Americans. Not just the fact that I believe in reincarnations and sometimes was born a woman, a man, and we gotta be on the XYZ with that, and gotta get it on the do. You know, so that's all we gotta get doing, you know, and they're happy, my fellow citizens there, you know, so, like I saw earlier, you know, a joyous youth, and that makes my day also, you know, because we gotta cultivate some joy and mental health through gratitude and appreciation and gratitude, you know. And since I died of COVID in 2020, I live every day carpe diem. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. It was. COVID for me was like death, pestilence, and disease. When I say that, I know it sounds kind of like a death, hardcore metal, death thrash song, but that's really how I felt. Like 2020 started to celebrate. Like really Friday started my celebration. Celebrating surviving COVID. Some 5 years, triple vaxxed. Had it 3 times. The first, right at the beginning, it was really intense. I really thought that was it for me. I said, that's it, I'm done for, you know. So it looks that it wasn't my time to go. And somehow I survived. But between first week of February and first week of March, at the beginning of February, first week of February, I started feeling ill, sick. So having been sick, felt sick and ill, then I got ill and ill. Then I got ill and ill. Then I got ill and ill, you know? So having gone ill, I survived, and somehow I just survived it. But at one point it was really intense, and I always say I died during COVID, and nothing that I want to go back to, and have retrograde amnesia, I have like blackouts of memory. I think either due to COVID or trauma. It was surprise attack in the Montreal metro a few years ago, and fell hit my head, and that's what it is with that, and that's what it is with that, so that's what it is. That's what we gotta get doing in order to drag an army, so it's something which we gotta be on that interjection side, and gotta get that LOV, to my black brothers and sisters, blacks, men, black women, 13.3% of the population, is something which we gotta unite, and we gotta fight a little bit of racism by some action, because sometimes things are subconscious, and myself who has lived discrimination, and having lived discrimination, it's the individual is also the individual and the collective, the individual and the collective, the individual and the collective, we gotta get it on the go. We gotta get it on the go. They gotta get it on the go, over there. So that's how we gotta get it on the go, So we gotta get it on the XYZ, and that's how we gotta get doing, So it's something which we gotta do some love, Gotta be, hugging and kissing all my brothers and sisters of the collective North American civilization, and obviously with consent, and doing some workout and channeling the aggression, because we made it so far, 13.3, 13.4, my brothers and sisters are blacks, my neighbors included, so, sometimes it's subconscious, we gotta make an effort, and I don't like violence, we gotta use aggression and violence to play defense, which we will. Dragon Army Initiative, pledge your allegiance, legions to our family. Dragon Army Initiative, pledge your allegiance, legions to our family, friends with benefits only. Dragon Army, pledge your allegiance, legions, friends with benefits only to our family. So that's all we're gonna get doing, That's all we gotta get doing. So we gotta get on that transposition, So I don't know what that was. Could have been mistaken for a gunshot, I guess. But whoever you are, I guess. The song is "May I be avenged 11-fold in this life and in the next." Whoever die, may I be avenged 11-fold in this life and in the next. Whoever die, may I be avenged 11-fold in this life and in the next. Law of the dragon. Oh, nobody, nothing, man. Oh, nobody, nothing. 0, 0. Broke, financially stressed, $10,000 in debt. You wanna come make LOV, black, white, brown, rainbow. Men, women, we gotta get that good loving, LOV, wanna make that good loving with me, black, white, rainbow, men, women, I'm androgynous, pansexual, 50-50 centrist, democratic, republican, pro-labor and love, universal revolutionary centrism. I'm gonna discuss my DRT theory, the death row fusion theory. Gotta get that DRT, so that's what we gotta get doing with that, so make it viral, how that goes. Let's see a little bit. Gotta check a little bit of that. My eyes, with the optometrist. So you gotta get it on the go, so. Interesting, as a spiritual, as a mystic, you gotta get that 50-50, Justice, indeed, is abstract, we gotta get some justice, please, millionaires, billionaires. Give some charity to the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, and the grocery store clerks, We gotta get on that XYZ, and that's what we gotta get doing, man. And now it's time for the DRT. See, that's the Mount Royal, but that's kilometers, miles away. See, we can be seen from afar off, and sometimes we're there. Sometimes we're there, and we go east. From there, we go to the Mount Royal proper, because it got 3 peaks. Mount Royal system got West Mount Outremer, Mount Royal, and it goes like that. So Mount Royal, the whole complex, mountain complex with 3 peaks. It got 3 peaks, so it goes Mount Royal all the way to Mount Royal, Outremer, and Mount Royal proper. So That's where we are sometimes most of the time in the videos, and that's a few kilometers away from here. We go up the mountain, but now we're just gonna go west to my Dragon's Lair. And I should have been in that video for Lady Gaga. Nobody dances like you're a story. So that's what it is with that interjection, and that's what we gotta go do with that. And DRT, death through fusion theory. DRT, death through fusion theory. DRT, death through fusion theory. The death through fusion theory for the creation of the UE, the Universal Exchange Unit. The Universal Exchange Unit, the UE. I'm gonna now discuss, because past some although financially stressed. You know, when I see people hugging, kissing, and holding hands, it always gives me some hope. You know, I enjoy seeing public acts of affection, so I like to matchmake, you know. I always say, you make love for me, you know. You make love for me, you know, so make LOV for me, you know, so that's what we gotta get doing, you know, so that's what you gotta get doing with that. So going west is always something which we gotta introduce. See, that's the mountain. See how it goes? West Mount proper. That's what we gotta get doing on that, and that's what we gotta get doing on the go. So the DRT, death through fusion theory for the creation of the UE, I'm gonna now explain fully, to the best of my capacity, and fully the death through fusion theory, the DRT, the death through fusion theory. So that's what it is now, and that's what we gotta be doing, and that's what we gotta be doing. And that's the mountain again. So death through fusion theory. Death through fusion theory. There's the only solution is now the death through fusion theory. Why do I make that pronouncement? Well, due to the fact that we now pay 46.5 billion in interest. 46.5 billion in interest on the public debt. So just if you keep in mind that number which I just said of 44 billion of correction 46.5 billion of 46.5 billion of 46.5 billion 46.5 billion. And there's the pyramid, my favorite skyscraper, departing going west from Mount Royal, so from downtown Montreal. So that's the reason why I make the statement that the DRT theory, or something very, very similar, is the only solution for where we are now with the public financial system of Canada. So I'm going to go a little bit over the financial numbers, and I'm going to discuss the DRT theory, debt through fusion theory, which again, I make the statement that is something very similar, or something which resembles my DRT theory, which of course has to be implemented. So the motive, the reason, first and foremost, the principle is the financial mathematic principle. So forget everything that I said about having Asperger's, being on the spectrum, HFA, and being part of the androgynous community, neurodivergent and pansexual, gender diverse and sexually diverse. Forget all that for now. Know that my DRT theory is what you gotta focus on now. You gotta focus on the DRT theory, debt through fusion theory. DRT, debt through fusion theory. Debt through fusion theory. DRT, debt through fusion theory. Debt through fusion theory is, of course, the only solution. Or something similar. Why do I make that statement again? Is because of the financial mathematical concordium, or actually facts and figures which I'm going to pronounce myself on now. So we paid in 2020, 2021, 20.3 billion in interest on the Canadian public debt. On the Canadian public debt. 20.3 billion. Due to COVID last year in 2024. So in just 3 years' time, in just 3 years' time, in just 3 years, in just 3 years, the public interest has doubled. Has doubled. Paying the public interest on the debt has doubled. So from 20.3 billion, it went to 46.5 billion. 46.5 billion. A billion is 1,000 million. So having to state that we have to focus with solutions and that we are close to a public financial collapse, it could happen tomorrow. It can happen tomorrow. It can happen tomorrow. It can happen tomorrow. Again, make an interjection and a comparable parallel. If you as a citizen, if your interest doubles, if your interest payments double in 3 years, I do not have credit cards myself. I have a public debt to the RBC, Royal Bank of Canada. The Royal Bank of Canada. Royal Bank of Canada, that's my debt. $10,000 to the RBC, to the Royal Bank of Canada. That's my debt. So I paid less than, because they lowered it 2 weeks ago. The Bank of Canada, Tiff Macklem, my uncle, lowered the interest rate. Lowered the interest rate. So that means that I pay less than 11 now, 10.9 or something. So the fact is that if your interest payments or somebody else's, Citizen X, Citizen Consumer XYZ, men, women, trans, whatever the case may be, this is just mathematical financial principia. Mathematical financial principia. Mathematical financial principia. Mathematical financial principia. That's what it is with that XYZ, you know, so that's what it is, you know, so just the principium of it, we gotta get on that concordium, you know, so it's XYZ, and XYZ, that's what it is. Anyways, so the DRT theory, the debt fusion theory. There we go. So the DRT theory, debt fusion theory, that's what we're gonna do with that. So the debt fusion theory is the only solution, is the only solution. Debt fusion theory, the DRT, debt fusion theory for the creation of the UE, the universal exchange unit, the universal exchange unit. So taking all the DRT, all the money, that's what we're gonna go do with that. So that's what we're gonna get doing with that. So XYZ, we gotta get it on dues, you know, so we gotta get it on the LOV, you know, so that's what it is. The DRT, again, financial conjecture, is to the fact that we pay now 10,000, twice as much on the public debt. That's what it is with that, that's what it is, you know, so that is how much we pay. Double the interest, just the interest. So the financial, of course, informatics, what it is with that, that's what it is. So the fact that if, of course, the payments on interest, of course, double, the fact that if the interest payments double on the interest, that is myself or yourself of the money, if they double on the interest, just the payments that we do, Anyways, so the fact is, the point, financial concordant mathematics is of course that doubling of the interest payments only makes of course that of course it is what it is, and that's all we gotta get doing. Because if the interest doubles while the salary does not, right, then you have to reduce the budget, you have to cut the expenses. The expenses have to be reduced, So that's what we gotta do. Because that is the concordium. That is just the financial principle mathematics. Mathematical principles. The fact is that interest payments cannot be sustained, Cannot be sustained, So that's what it is with that. That's what it is, So work it on the go, There's the mountain, Westmount, and that's what it is with that, and that's what it is. So the fact is that if a citizen consumers interest payments double in 3 years, let's say from 156 to 333, let's say for argument's sake, it goes from 156 to 333, from 156 to 333. If of course the principal doubles that you have to pay on the credit cards, then you have to cut. You have to cut the budget. You have to reduce whatever expenses, right? Whatever cell phone bills, Netflix, no more bacon, no more fancy wine, no more going out for dinner, no more going out to the movies. You have to reduce the expenditures. You have to reduce the money that you spend. That's just how it is with the principle of the public finances, of the public finances. So the fact that you now pay double on the public finances, that's why we are on the verge of what's called in finance a black swan event. Tomorrow's the 11th of February. Tomorrow is the 11th of February. Tomorrow is the 11th of February, right? Tomorrow being the 11th of February, meaning that it could be a black swan event, and you can see in the news, breaking news, CBC, CNN, Fox, CBC, the public financial collapse of Canada. Public financial collapse. Because the interest payments double. That's why 2 weeks ago, it was in the news that thousands of jobs in the Immigration Canada were going to be cut. Thousands of jobs in Immigration Canada were going to be cut. Thousands of. This is a nice park here. You can come enjoy if you. I can't pet them too much, but poodles I can pet without problem. Poodles I can pet. The other ones are makes me kind of sneeze with their fur length, but I love them from afar. But poodles I can embrace and kiss and hug. I like poodles because they don't make me sneeze. So I get certain allergic reaction to certain types of breeds of dogs with the fur length and the fur thickness of the fur. So the fact is that it's not sustainable. Parallel just with a private citizen's interest double while the salary does not double, because the salary in the past 5 years, the salary is only increased by 4.4% average. So that 4.4% average is not double. Obviously, the GDP of Canada, the national economy of Canada did not double. The national economy of Canada did not double. How many things in the economy increased by sometimes in the negative GDP. So that's what it increased. Sometimes it decreases, but on average, less than 5% over the past 5 years. Over the past even 3 years, because we're talking of public finances of Canada between 2020 at the beginning of COVID and 2024. 3 year span. In 3 years, the interest payments double. And yes, due to COVID, the programs implemented to salvage a population rescue and all that had to be implemented, of course, is due to COVID. Mostly, not only, that the interest payments doubled. Mostly, or due to COVID, mostly. But due to COVID, of course, double. Mostly due to COVID, but not only have doubled. So that's what it is with that, and that's what we gotta get on that doing. So here I gotta look left and right. I'm gonna be patient and wait. So once again, the same principle applies for the public finances. So basically, it's the same principle. So take the principle, forget the rest. Take just the principle of the interest payments doubling, while the salaries. How many salaries have doubled? How many? Not many. I don't. Average is 4.4 because there have been some labor movements, some strikes, have been some concessions, but generally they have not doubled. Generally, they have not doubled, right? In a general manner. Now, in the proprium on the consortium side, the interest payments doubling, it automatically means that just like an individual has to reduce, just like an individual has to reduce, you know, just like an individual has to reduce the expenses, the spendings, that means that somebody else also, just like the individual has to reduce, that means of course that another same parallel principle applies for the public's financial sector, which we can see tomorrow, 11th of February, 17th of February, 19th, 18th, 20th, we can see a black swan in the public financial collapse of Canada. It's a possibility, again, due to this fact. And I wonder if this has a correlative to the fact that more than a few thousand jobs were cut during they're going to be cut in the coming years. So